I always thought I was just an ordinary girl until I discovered the secrets hidden within my family. Chapter 27, Bridget Triley's POV morning. I chirped as Spencer walked in. What did you do? Spencer asked, yawning. I tilted my head in confusion. You would always act happier when you've done something wrong. It's like you think you have already gotten away with it. My lips formed a straight line. I do not. Spencer scoffed. Yeah, you do. I frowned some more. I don't. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, and what's this debate about? Jamie asked. Walking into the kitchen, Spencer says that I act happier when I have done something wrong. Is that true? We looked at Jamie. He shifted his eyes from me to Spencer, then back to me. So, Jamie shifted uncomfortably, feeling the weight of our gazes on him. Well, I think Spencer is right. I gaped at him. Jamie, you're supposed to side me. You do become happier. Remember the time I cut him off again. We do not need to discuss what I did wrong in front of my brother. Then I added, you guys had just ruined my happy mood. Spencer petted my head and I swatted his hand away. Don't worry. Panda. Your happy mood will come back. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Lucy grumbled under her breath. Well, Simone's a little moody, Jamie said, smirking. Lucy narrowed her eyes at him. Shut up. Is it the time of the month? Jamie asked innocently. I said shut up. Jamie. She snapped. Jamie cackled and shook his head. Girls. Boys. Lucy mimicked childishly. Hey babe. Dennis hooked his arm around Lucy's waist and tugged her to him. He planted a kiss on her cheek and she batted him away. He looked at her dumbfounded. Did I do something wrong? Before Lucy could utter a single word, Jamie answered for her. It's the time of the month. He whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Dennis sprung away from Lucy as she glared at Jamie. Thanks a lot, Jamie. Now my boyfriend won't come close to me. Just doing my job, Jamie said, nodding. Sorry, Lucy, but the last time I tried to calm you down, when you were on your period, might I add, you almost stripped my head off and stuffed it up my ass. Dennis said as he used me as a shield to block Lucy. Why don't you use your cranknisms to get the other boys ready for school? I asked, smiling sweetly. Lucy's eye twitched. She stomped off muttering, taking advantage of me. Love you too. I called after her. Whatever. I opened my locker just as Ashton slung his arm over my shoulder. My mom wants to invite you over for dinner again. Ashton looking at me. Do you want me to come? Of course I do. Ashton said in a dove voice. Okay. I'll come. Great. Let's go to homeroom. He grabbed my hand and led me to class. I stumbled a couple times because on how my hand fitted perfectly into his. We turned the corner and walked through the door. Surprised eyes followed us as we sat in our seats. I ignored them until Mr. Lopez came in to start the class. Cole tried to get my attention by shooting spitballs. I have no idea how he didn't get caught. By the end of class, I was yanking spitballs out of my hair. Cole's face appeared in my vision and I scowled. What? I snapped, picking at a spitball that was tangled in my hair. How are you? Just peachy. He laughed like it was the funniest joke in the world. What do you want? I asked again. I heard you are going to Ashton's for dinner again, he said in a low voice. Yeah, so, when is it? I don't know, but if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. I stuck my chin out. Why not? Cole leaned forward waiting for my answer. Because you will tell Spencer and he will make Jamie, Jared, and just don't stalk me like they did on my date. I wouldn't call it stalking, Riley, Justin said. It is too strong of a word. I'd rather call it an intense observation on a person. He picked a spitball out of my hair and dropped it onto the ground. I swung my bag over my shoulder and walked away. Jamie came up from behind me. Whoa, who made that masterpiece at the back of your head? I glared at him. Nobody. He put his hands up in surrender. Fine. Don't tell me. I opened my locker and took out a brush. I ran it through my hair a few times to get rid of some of the spitballs. What happened to you? I turned and saw Lucy and Jared. Lucy seemed like she had somewhat calmed down. How are you feeling? I asked Lucy. She nodded glumly. Then she added, I hate periods. I feel you. I agreed. Like I said, what happened to you? Jared asked, pointing to the back of my head. Ignore it. I rolled my eyes. That's gonna be hard because it is very noticeable. Lucy noted. I sighed and brushed my hair again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Give it to me. Lucy took the brush out of my hands and helped me brush my hair. When it came to a knot, she began getting violent. She tugged on the knot with the brush. Riley, she said nervously. What? I think the brush is stuck. What? I brought my hand to my hair, but she slapped it away. Don't worry. You'll get it out. Lucy yanked the brush, making my head burst with pain. I yelped. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not a trace of sincerity in her voice. She continued tugging at it, and I waited impatiently. I knew I was going to be late for my next class, so there was no need in rushing. I heard Lucy sigh as she said, I think we have to chop it off. What? I asked for what seemed like the millionth time. She laughed. I'm kidding. Riley, chill, will you? She waved my hairbrush in front of my face. Not funny. She handed me my brush and skipped to her next class. I shoved everything into my locker and ran to my next class, which was Art Mrs. Mackenzie gave me a disapproving look when I came in. I muttered an apology when I passed her and went to my seat. I shot Cole a glare, which he returned with a smirk. I took my seat in between Ashton and Justin. Is that a spitball in your hair? Justin asked playfully. Shut up. Can I have your attention up here? Mrs. Mackenzie called from the front of the class. I want all you students to paint a nature scene. I want it to have a variety of colors. She continued giving instructions whilst handing out canvases. I began sketching out the trees and flowers. I gradually began adding colors, then outlining the details. I looked over at Ashton's painting. What are you painting? He faced me and I got a clear view of his face. He had black paint on his cheek and some green on his forehead. You can't see it. He waved his hands around the canvas. I looked closely. Admit it. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Carly said, turning around in her seat. You were never a good artist. Jake turned around too. So what is it? A wolf, Ashton said. His mouth set in a thin line. Oh, I think I can see a bit of it. I took my brush and dabbed it in some paint. You just have to fix it a bit. Let me help. I made the wolf's features more prominent and his eyes a brighter shade of blue. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I beamed at the wolf. Now that is art, Jake said, chuckling. Austin looked at Ashton's canvas. Wow, Ashton, what happened to your painting skills? When did you transform into a pro artist? He snickered at Ashton's narrowed eyes. What's going on in this little group, Mrs.? Mackenzie asked, coming up from behind us. Nothing. Carly muttered as she and Jake turned back to their paintings, Mrs. Mackenzie looked at her paintings with judgmental eyes. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That has to be the best painting I've ever seen you make. Mrs. Mackenzie gushed. Austin snorted from beside Ashton. Yuff, that's because he didn't do it. He muttered low enough so that Mrs. Mackenzie cowed and he misses. Mackenzie looked at my painting. That is beautiful. Riley. She gave me a warm smile. Thank you. I sweetly smiled at her. She returned to her desk and Carly and Jake turned around. You should thank Riley for helping you bump your grades up. If I remember correctly. You failed, Carly asked, a smirk tugging on her lips. You'll thank her later, Ashton said. I raised my eyebrows at the mischievous glint in his eyes. The bell rang loudly in my ear, effectively snapping me out of my daze. Mr. Giles' gravity voice still droned in my head. That was so boring, I muttered to myself. I lifted my arms to stretch. I yawned loudly and packed my things. I slowly made my way to my locker. As I shoved my books into the locker, I felt arms wrap around my waist. Judging from the tingles I was getting, I am quite sure I know who was behind me. I twisted my body to face Ashton. He grinned. How are you doing? He asked casually. I narrowed my eyes suspiciously. I know that tone. Jamie and Justin always used it. What do you want? I asked slowly. He had the mischievous look in his eyes again. You know when I said that I would thank you? I nodded. Well, I was thinking of how to thank you. I thought of what you would like. I knew that you won't want chocolate or flowers, so I'll ask you something instead. So, Riley Thompson, will you? I held my breath. My excitement deflated. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Disbelief in my voice. Will you kiss me? He repeated, giving me a cute grin. I gaped at him, then shoved him away. No. I began walking away, but his hand enclosed around my wrist, pulling me back to him. My back hit his chest and he leaned his head down so that his breath was tickling my neck. If you don't want to kiss me, then how can I kiss you when I ask you to be my girlfriend? What? I asked dumbly. I turned so that we were chest to chest. Will you be my girlfriend? He waited for my answer, and all that I could manage to say was, oh. The silence grew longer. The longer it grew, the more nervous Ashton became. You know, I am not going to answer that question. I pulled his head down to mine so I could place a kiss onto his lips. He immediately responded, kissing me back. I heard a few murmurs from some students who were watching, but I ignored them. Mr. Slade and Mrs. Thompson, I do not appreciate the scene you are causing in the school hallways. The old math teacher, Mrs. Woods, called from her class down the hall. Sorry, Ashton called back. He smiled at me and took my hand, leading me to the cafeteria. Whoever we passed stared at us. More specifically, our joined hands. Will we get this much attention every day? I asked Ashton quietly. He chuckled and shook his head. No, they will get used to it soon. We sat with our group and they were also silent. Lucy jabbed me in the ribs with her sharp elbow. I yelped and glared at her. What? I mouthed. You didn't tell me that Ashton asked you to be his girlfriend. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He just asked me a few minutes ago. I whispered. Oh, Lucy said, blinking. How did you find out so quickly anyway? She took out her phone and showed me the screen. My dear Riley, this is high school. The gossip travels 10 times faster than lightning. Her screen was blinking with texts from students. All the messages had one thing in common, the topic. There were photos of Ashton and my hands linked together. There were a bunch of exclamation marks and emojis. I was speechless. I turned to Ashton to see him on his phone scrolling through the texts. I gave him a dry smile. Looks like we will be the talk of school for a long time. It's not that bad, Sophie chirped, looking at Brandon. For the news of Brandon and I getting together. It was huge. It lasted for a few months. People were making bets on when we were gonna break up. They are probably making bets for you right now. As we speak. Would anyone threaten Riley? Cole asked. Yes, Carly said seriously. When I started dating Jake, I was getting a lot of hate and stuff. You didn't tell me you were having troubles. Jake said to Carly. Who is it? It's fine, Jake. Sarah took care of them. Carly smiled at Sarah's direction. Did you have any troubles? Jamie asked, tilting his head at Sarah. Sarah sat back, picking at her nails. Nope. No one would come close to me. But If someone did send a threat, I would just hunt them down and hurt them. Jamie's eyes widened. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. How long did it last for you? The bets and all? Justin asked Carly. Carly thought a while. About 2 months. Nothing too over the top. How long do you think it is gonna last for Riley? Jared asked. His smooth voice always had this effect on people. Whenever he spoke, everyone would want to listen to him. My guess is 1 to 3 months, Brandon said. That long? I asked, my forehead creasing. Blame Ashton for being famous in Kingston High. Austin said. Geez. Thanks, bro. That helped a lot. Ashton said sarcastically. I am always here for you, brother, Austin replied, placing his hand to his chest. My advice for Riley is to always have someone tough with you. Carly spoke up. It would scare away all the bitches. To say that I am shocked is an understatement. I would have never entertained the thought of Carly swearing. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You know, with all this relationship stuff going on, I feel like a spare wheel. Cole muttered. You and me both. Nathan patted him on the shoulder. Who the hell are you? Cole asked. About time you came, Ashton said. Nathan nodded at me. Hey Riley, heard the news? He then went to Ashton and clapped him on the back. Congrats, bro. Don't tell me you are still single. Nathan, Brandon sighed. You've traveled everywhere and you come back with no girl. Dude, I have no idea where she is. She could be somewhere on the other side of the world or... Yeah. So in still searching. Nathan sat down heavily. Searching. Jamie burst out laughing. Why do you need to search for a girl? Is it a long-lost friend or what? Nathan hesitated. No. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Something different. If you are waiting for the right girl, don't go searching. She'll come to you. What if you are away searching and she comes here? You won't get to meet her because you are at some place looking. Jared said from his seat. Are you talking from experience? Jared, Jamie asked cheekily. Shut up, Jamie. Jared growled out. It's okay if you don't want to share. I'm not trying to pry. Jared got off his seat and hastily stalked out of the cafeteria. What's his problem? Dirk asked, his eyes following Jared's retreating figure. Lucy sighed. Jared used to have a girlfriend. Let me tell you, they were the definition of love. She one day went missing. Jared went out of his mind searching God knows where. What he didn't know was that she was. Lucy hiccuped as tooled her eyes. She was in his basement, hanging from the ceiling. Everyone gasped. How do you know? Why did she commit suicide? Jake asked. No, she didn't commit suicide. She had a stalker who claimed to love her a lot. He would send her white roses every day and letters that described his love for her. On the day she went missing, Jared got a note that said if he wanted the girl alive, I'd have to find her within a month. Jared took planes to all over the world. Lucy sniffed and rubbed her eyes. When 1 month was over, he got another letter from the stalker. It said to check his basement. He went down there, only to find a rotted body about a month old. I shivered and Ashton wrapped his arm around my waist, calling me closer to him. What was her name? My voice small. She was my best friend. Bridget. Jared cares about you so much because you are like her clone. You act and look like her, Lucy said, her voice breaking. Oh yeah, I remember that girl, Cole said sadly. She was so nice. I guess that was what made Jared so heartless. Maybe that's why he joined the started living with Ben. I'm going to talk to him, I said, standing up and leaving before anyone could stop me. Chapter 28, Cousin. Riley's POV. I looked everywhere for Jared. It was like he had disappeared into thin air. I let out with disappointment after I had checked all the empty classrooms. If I were Jared, where would I go? I don't know. Jared is too mysterious. He always distanced himself from everyone else. My eyes lit up when I thought of a place he could be hiding in. I turned on my heels and sprinted off to the back of the school and into the forest. I stumbled over the twigs and logs that were in my way, making a huge scene. You could hear me a mile away, screeching and cursing. You can imagine how relieved I was when I saw the stream. My eyes landed on the huddled figure that was nestled next to it. "What do you want?" His voice shocked me. He sounded so fragile. It was so Jared. I ignored him and took a seat next to him, my body facing him. We sat in silence. Jared stared at the water slowly flowing downstream, and I watched him carefully. He sighed and looked at me. When I got a clear view of his face, my heart cracked. His eyes were bloodshot red and watery. His hair looked like he had ran his hand through it multiple times, and on his cheeks there were some traces of tear tracks. "What do you want?" He asked his question again. "Do you need a hug?" I spread my arms and tilted my head. He tackled me, wrapping his arms around my waist tightly. I heard him softly sobbing into my shoulder as I held him. I softly ran my hands through his hair, in hopes of calming him down. When we separated, he let out a humorless laugh. "You know, that was the first thing she said to me." "What?" "Bridget." He said her name like it was killing him slowly. It was in freshman. She came up to me and said, "Do you need a hug? You look sad." Then she just wrapped her arms around me in a hug. Jared had a faraway look in his eyes as he went for a stroll down memory lane. The truth was, I wasn't sad. I guess I always looked moody even if not. He chuckled darkly. We started hanging out at school. Cole and Lucy would tease me about Bridget and nag at me to not be a wuss and ask her out. I finally did. I asked her out and she said yes. When I asked her to be my girlfriend, she said she would think about it. She didn't give me an answer until 2 weeks later. She had agreed to be my girlfriend, and you have no idea how happy I was. I think I have an idea of what it was like. He continued. We had the best 6 months together. We liked each other so much. You could say that we were in love. But after the 6 months, she began receiving letters from her stalker. He told her that she will be his soon and that he saw her first. The police were no help at all. They couldn't locate the place the letters were being sent from. When she died, I put a hand on her shoulder to stop him from talking. "You don't have to go on if you don't want to." He shook his head. "I need to tell it to someone right now." I nodded and took his hand, giving it a small squeeze. When she died, I found a letter and a lace recorder. The letter said that I should have broken up with her and that he wins. He was right. I did lose. I couldn't keep my Bridget safe. My Bridget. My Bridget. He mumbled pitifully. "How about the voice recorder?" I wondered about the voice recorder. I didn't listen to it. Every day I try to work up the courage to listen. But I can't. I just bring it with me wherever I go because it's the only connection I have to the stalker. He sighed sadly. My head perked up. "Do you have it now?" He dug it out from his pocket. It was small and definitely looked old. "Maybe we could listen to it right now. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you could just let me listen and tell you later." He hesitated. "I don't know." "Why? It'll be right here." I took his hand and gave it a comforting squeeze. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Let's turn this thing on." He clicked on the play button. We waited for a while before we heard scratching noises. "Hello, Jared." A sickly sweet voice sounded from the recorder. "I know that you have now found the body, and I know it has been a long while before you decided to listen to this. I knew you have always been a stupid, weak, scared boy, waiting this long to listen. I hope you now know that I will always win. I didn't really love Bridget. I just needed a beautiful and powerful female to help me lead a group. But when I studied her, I found out that she isn't so powerful when you are with her. I tried to get rid of you, but you just won't fall into my traps. You were one hard boy to catch." I looked at Jared worriedly and saw that his jaw was set and he was squeezing my hand hard. Notice how I didn't say she was dead. The recording continued. That body I hooked on the ceiling was hers. It is someone else's. Jared looked at me with hopeful eyes. I stared back at him with wide ones. Now, I know that you are confused about the body, but I will take my time to tell you the story in a short version. I kidnapped her. I hanged someone else after you left. You came back and found everything while Lim with Bridget laughing triumphantly. That's right. I have Bridget as a prisoner. I would give her a couple years to live. If you want to get her back, you better bring me another leader. You'll have to find me to find her. That was the end of it. I sat back, digesting the new information. There was something about that voice. I have to find her. Jared got up and did the recorder. I followed suit. What now? I shook my head wildly. You can't do that. I won't let you. I have to find her. Did you hear him? She has a few years to live. It has already been 1 year. Who knows what he is doing to her at this moment? Starving her. Torturing her. The list can go on. I have to find him. It's the only way you'll be happy. To kill him. He turned and ran into the forest, leaving me with my mouth agape. I ran as fast as I could back to school. I skidded around the corner of the hallway, crashing into some people. I said a quick apology and sprinted away. I felt relief flood over me when I saw Justin, Jamie, Cole and Lucy talking at her locker. I shouted Cole's name and they turned and raised their hands in greeting. I ran to them and when I got closer, their faces became more worried. I crashed into them and Lucy began asking questions. What happened? Where were you? I didn't answer any of the questions. Then Jamie looked at me worriedly. Riley, where's Jared? That made me talk. Jared went to look for the stalker who had actually kidnapped Bridget, and Bridget has a few years to live and she might be dead at this second, but Jared ran off anyway. I said in one breath. What? Lucy shrieked. Go to the car. Cole said seriously now. We ran to the car, ignoring the yells of students and teachers. We got in quickly and Cole sped away from school. On the way back to the house, I told them the whole story while keeping an eye on the forest, just in case I saw Jared. The car didn't fully stop before Jamie and Justin threw themselves out of the car. Walden stood up, unharmed. We got out and was met at the door by Jared. He had a bag slung over his shoulder and was holding car keys. What are you doing here? His eyes scanning all of us. We are saving your ass from being chopped off, Lucy said. Jared, get yourself together. She could be dead and you would be doing a useless chase. And if she's alive, Jared fired back. I appreciate the care, but I'm gonna stick to finding her. Justin huffed in annoyance. If you were gonna find Bridget, we are gonna find Bridget with you. You can't go alone. No can do. You guys will just slow me down. Jared shook his head. Did I hear that there's a mission to find a missing person? Spencer asked, appearing out of nowhere. Jared said, no, at the same time we said, yes. He threw a glare at us. I think you should tell Belle about it before running off. Spencer said, but we will be wasting time. I have to go. Jared insisted. Spencer grabbed Jared's arm while Cole grabbed his other. They dragged him downstairs and set him down on a chair. Then Cole took a deep breath and bellowed. Meeting in 10 seconds. People began jogging in and taking their seats, looking around confused. Some of them had guns strapped to their chest, as they were leaving for a mission. Ben came in, his blue eyes confused. Lucy explained what Jared's situation and talked about how Bridget was special to him. Jared was at the corner of the stage scowling at us. As Lucy continued talking, with Jamie piping up once in a while, the room began getting louder. From some of the conversations I was hearing, some of them wanted to help look for Bridget. I went to stare next to Jared, who was staring at the people. You should have gone to these guys first before taking off. They are willing to help. These guys are more like family. We aren't just a gang anymore. We are a family that helps people kill their enemies. We care about each other well. Most of us do, and we will help anyone who needs it. So if they want to help, what do we do? Let's go to Ben, I said, looking for him in the sea of people. I finally spotted him talking to Lucy. Jared and I jogged up to him just in time to hear the last few sentences of their argument. No. There are missions that they have to do. They can't just go off to look for some girl. But that girl isn't just some girl. She's special to Jared. Do you have no heart? Do you see Jared every day? He's emotional, sis. I have seen him with that girl and he actually had a smile on his face and actually laughed. Do you know how much it hurts him to see Riley? It kills him because Riley reminds him of her. Because Riley is her cousin. What? Jared and I asked at the same time. She's my cousin. I asked again. Lucy stopped mid-sentence and looked at me with a guilty expression. Her cousin? Jared asked, pointing at me. I can explain. Lucy stammered. I held up my hand. Explain later. I looked at Ben, with a new motive to keep on going. I walked up to him so we were an inch apart. Then I jabbed him in the chest with my finger. Now that I know that Bridget is my cousin, I have to find her. She's my family. I don't have many blood-related family members who I know. Just my dad and brother. Now that I know a third, I have to get to know her better. If you refuse to let us find her, we will leave by ourselves to look for her. Ben looked at me straight in the eye and I looked back in a challenging way. After an intense stare down, Ben sighed in defeat. You can go, but half of my gang has to stay to continue with missions. I grinned and gave him a quick sigh hug. Great. Jared, go prepare everyone to leave tomorrow. Lucy, I believe we have to talk. Lucy nodded and led me to the corner of the room. I waited, tapping my foot impatiently. Lucy thought for a moment before beginning to talk. So I knew Jared and Bridget in high school. I actually knew them for quite a while. Jared was a quiet and emotional as person back then. But when he met Bridget, he began laughing and smiling more. It was great to see him smile. When Bridget died or when he found the body, he became depressed. It lasted for a long time and just when he was starting to smile, you came along. When I came back from my 2 days mission, I almost had a heart attack when I saw you walking around. I thought you were Bridget. For a second I thought you were Bridget Hess Zombie, but it was just from a movie that I had watched before I arrived. I thought back to when I met Lucy for the first time. She looked pale and when I shook her hand, they were shaking. Lucy continued. Then I thought, how can anyone look so much like Bridget? That night, I used my computer to search the relation between you and Bridget. It said that she was from your mother's side of the family. That's why you didn't know her. Does Spencer know that she's his cousin? Lucy shook her head. I haven't told him yet, because I know that he will go far for family, even if he doesn't know them. We stood in silence for a while before she said, I should go tell him right now. I will have to bring Dennis and Cole to help me keep him here. She walked away, giving me a small smile. I jumped when my phone started ringing. I took it out and saw Ashton's name flash on the screen. Guilt flooded me when I realized I had left my new boyfriend at school. Without telling him where I was, I quickly accepted the call, putting the phone next to my ear. Hello. I spoke quietly into it. Riley, where are you? Ashton's voice asked from the other side, sounding slightly panicked. Home, I said, biting my lip. What happened? Are you okay? Why didn't you tell me you were going home? I couldn't help but be amused at his worry. Fine. Some things had came up back here and I just need to check on it. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Trying to soothe him. When is the next family dinner? Can I come over today? Yeah, sure. I just have to tell my mom. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. See you then. I hung up and made my way to a group that was forming around Ben. Spencer will be in charge of this search team. If he decides that it is faster to spread out, then I want him to choose the leaders for each of those groups. If you don't want to do this, then go away. I know most of us will be searching for a girl we know nothing about. Just think of her as one of us. If you find her, she'll really be one of us. But if you find where she is at and they're guarding her, I want Spencer to call me. I will get everyone else to go as backup. There were murmurs of agreement, and Spencer went to the middle of the circle to make plans. He was going to split them into groups. Jared, Cole, Justin, Dennis, and a handful of others were going to be leaders. We leave tomorrow at noon. I want you to be split into groups of 3, each having a leader. Now the leaders and I will go upstairs to make plans. Spencer turned on his heel and went upstairs. Everyone dispersed. Leaders following Spencer and the others going to pack for tomorrow. I went to my room to get ready for the family dinner. Chapter 29, Dinner Gone Wrong. Riley's POV. I braced myself, ready for the door to open. It clicked and swung open. "Hey Riley," Ashton greeted, sending me a smile. I mentally let out a sigh of relief and let a smile of my own slip onto my face. "Hey." I walked to him and went on my toes to peck him on the lips. He was stunned when I pulled away. I grinned and skipped by him. However, I didn't get far because his hand caught my wrist and pulled me back to him. He turned me around and placed his lips back on mine. I kissed him back, tangling my hands in his hair. His arms snaked around my waist, bringing me closer. I quickly pulled away before his tongue could ask for entrance. He groaned as I giggled and ran to the kitchen. I was tackled to the floor before I could place my foot on the kitchen ground. The 13-year-old girl on top of me was giggling wildly. "Hey Riley," Jessica chirped. "Hi Jessica," I groaned out. She got off and I noticed another girl beside her. She had wild fiery red hair and really pale green eyes. "Hi," the redhead said, smiling. She was much more tame than Jessica. In Penny, I got off the floor and offered her my hand. She took it and gave it a firm shake. "This is Riley, Ashton's crush and now his girlfriend. Riley, this is my best friend, Penelope." Penelope gave Jessica a harsh glare. She stated, "Penelope prefers to be called Penny," Jessica said, emphasizing Penelope. I jumped as a hand grabbed mine. "So you've met the two devils," Ashton said, playfully glaring at Jessica and Penny. Penny had a tinge of pink on her cheeks and she looked away. I raised my eyebrow, surprised. Then I followed Ashton into the kitchen. "I think Penny has a crush on you," I whispered into Ashton's ear. "So I heard." "IWW," a voice said from ahead of me. I beamed as Haley and Taryn came. "Hello, Haley," I said, smiling. "Don't they look adorable?" Haley cooed. Taryn looked uncomfortable and embarrassed. Ashton snorted. "Seriously?" Taryn shot his son a glare. "Don't make me use the middle name. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "What's the middle name?" "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Haley grinned. Mom Ashton warned. Ashton Bryant slayed. Haley practically shouted. I looked at Ashton. "That isn't so bad. Did you know that your initials say BS?" Ashton's face twisted into a scowl. "I know." Haley laughed. "Hey Riley," Nathan said, patting me on the head. I slapped his hand away and ran my hand through my hair to smooth it down. "In going for a jog. So see you in a few." He waved and ran out of the back door. "So where's Erin?" I tried bringing her up casually. "She went to visit her grandparents," Ashton said, leading me to the dining room. I mentally did a happy dance. Ashton planted me on the chair next to him, the same chair I sat on from the last family dinner. Jessica sat next to me and Penny settled beside her. We were halfway through the food when the back door slammed open. All our heads snapped to Nathan, who, by the way, was half naked and bloody. Taryn and Brandon stood up, suddenly serious. "There is a rouge attack to the west," Nathan said with wide eyes. Taryn did some quick orders to the people and they all ran out the door. Stripping. Ashton sent Jessica a look and she nodded, gripping my hand. He was about to leave when I grabbed his arm. "A rouge attack. Doesn't rouge mean lone wolf? Are they werewolves?" "Riley, I have to go. Stay with Jessica. She'll be able to protect you." Before he could go, I gave him a quick kiss. "Don't die." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Worry in my voice. He looked surprised for a second, then nodded and ran out. Come on, Riley. Jessica tugged on my arm. We ran down to the basement and I noticed the women and children following. Jessica passed me to Sophie, who continued to pull me away from the dining room. Just before Jessica went out of sight, I saw her raise her hands and the door shut behind us. Locking it. She was on the other side. Wait. What? Sophie asked. She's on the other side. Sophie cursed and told Sarah to get her. We stood in a dark room. You could barely see anything. Sophie got on her knees and lifted the rug, showing a trapdoor. She opened it and ushered everyone in. I was still confused by the time Sarah came in. She won't open the door. Sophie, Sarah said. Sophie let out a string of curse words and ran her hand through her hair in frustration. We can't tell the boys. They will be too distracted. Let's hope she can't survive. I awkwardly cleared my throat. Did they forget I was standing right here? Sophie sent me a nervous smile. So Riley, we have a lot of explaining to do, don't we? I nodded. Yep, and you can start with what are you and why Rouges are attacking you. Ashen's POV. I ran out the back door and didn't bother to take my clothes off as I shifted. Once my paws touched the ground, I took off at full speed to the west side of my territory. When I got there already were tons of wolves attacking. There were some dead ones on the ground. I spotted the nearest wolf that was being outnumbered by 3 Rouges. I ran towards him and tackled one of the Rouges. It growled in surprise and lifted its paw to scratch my face. I jumped off him, and when he got up, I pounced on him. I dug my claws into his back and hung on as he thrashed under me. I clamped my jaw on his neck and bit down hard. He ran me into the nearest tree, which made me lose my grip on him. He turned to face me, but I was faster and leapt forward, ripping his throat out. His dead body fell down with a thud, and I bounded off to help others. I finished off my 5th rouge when a new smell filled the air. I growled and scanned the perimeter. My eyes zeroed in on Jessica, who was surrounded by Rouges. Why isn't there anyone helping her? And more importantly, why can't she obey orders? I ran towards her, her scared and determined face flashing in my mind. She managed to reduce the number of Rouges around her, but she was going to last for long. I was almost there when I was tackled to the ground. I growled viciously at my attacker and wrestled with him for a while. When I finished him, I looked for Jessica again. I saw her lying on the ground, unconscious. The Rouges were advancing on her. I panicked and ran as fast as I could. Before I could lunge at the nearest Rouge, another wolf sprang into the circle. It was a young Rouge. He was black and white. He growled at the other Rouges, who looked genuinely confused. He crouched over Jessica protectively and growled again. They growled back, but left him alone. I got closer, and when he saw me, he growled like he did for the others. I snarled at him. He whimpered softly but stayed on top of Jessica. Jessica groaned, and the wolf stole a quick glance at her and then looking back at me cautiously. I didn't miss the look of worrying care in his eyes. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Then I knew. He was Jessica's mate. Oh, Jessica, you lucky but you get your mate so soon. I was about to pounce on him when another wolf tackled Jessica's mate to the ground. He bared his teeth at the wolf who tackled him. The Rouge gave him a hard look, as if telling him that they were going. Jessica's mate took one last longing look at her before they ran into the woods. I looked around and noticed that all the surviving Rouges were retreating. Some of my pack members chased after them. I shifted and scooped Jessica up in my arms. Jack and Austin ran to me with worried looks on their faces. What happened? Jake asked. Jessica came out to help again. I decided not to tell anyone about her newfound mate. I'll wait for a while before I spill the beans. Mom's gonna be so mad, Austin said. Brandon appeared next to me. Why does she always sneak out? She grew up with boys. Of course she would grow up to be one of the guys. I said, walking home. So it's our fault we got her hurt. Jake asked. Technically, yes, Austin said. We were at the outline of our backyard when Brandon tossed us some basketball shorts. We put them on and then the back door opened and mates and children streamed out. My mother was the first to reach us. She immediately examined Jessica's face. Seeing a few cuts and scrapes, she ignored us and took Jessica's body from me. We were used to that. My mother always cared about Jessica more because she was younger and a girl. Jake was jealous at first, but he had gotten used to it when Carly started coming through the door. Sophie was the first one to reach us. She ran to Brandon and gave him a kiss. Then Sarah and Carly. I began worrying when I didn't see Riley. Where's Riley? I asked Sophie. Sophie opened her mouth to answer, but the door opened. Riley's head peeked out. She scanned the crowd of people before her eyes landed on me. She smiled brightly and shoved the door open. She sprinted to me and engulfed me in a hug. You're alive? She breathed out. I chuckled. Yes, I am. Why didn't you tell me you were a werewolf? She asked next. I sighed and kissed the top of her head. I thought I would scare you away. I inhaled her intoxicating scent. I already knew about werewolves. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Sophie just had to tell me what was happening. She pulled away. Her lips turned down in a frown. You aren't hurt, are you? She looked at the bloodstains on my body. No. Those are the Rouge's blood. She let out a sigh of relief, her cool breath fanning over my chest. Then her face heated up. What's wrong? I asked her. She stayed silent. I tilted her head so I could meet her eyes. She flickered her gaze away from mine and muttered something. What? You are half naked, she repeated. Am I making you uncomfortable? Yeah. She nodded. I blinked in surprise. I didn't expect her to answer. I pulled her closer to me and kissed her. She was just too adorable. She kissed me back, her arms sliding up my chest to the back of my neck and resting in my hair. She brought me closer. My fingers played with the hem of her shirt. I licked her bottom lip, asking permission to enter. When she didn't open up, I licked again. This time, she opened her mouth. Her small tongue darted out and licked my lips. I groaned. Keep it PG, guys. There are kids around, Nathan said. Walking past, I growled at him and Riley blushed. So when were you going to tell me you were a werewolf? Riley asked, looking up at me. I scratched my neck. When I know you aren't going to run away. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And sure. And when is that? She crooked her eyebrow. I trailed off. Then something popped into my head. You said you already knew about werewolves. How do you know? It was her turn to feel uncomfortable. That's a story for another day. I narrowed my eyes at her. I promise that I will tell you everything when the time comes. Everything, I echoed. Everything, she replied firmly. Good. I leaned down to kiss her again, but she backed away. I pouted at her and she shook her head. What's your status in here? You mean in this pack? She nodded. In the Alpha Second Son, I said proudly. The blood drained from her face as she stared at me in horror. My eyebrows came together. Did I say something wrong? Did you say Alpha Second Son? Why am I your mate? She nodded, looking troubled. What are the ranks in the pack? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Beta and third. I listed off. Who's the Alpha? My dad. Once Brandon turns 18, he will become the Alpha. Nathan is the soon-to-be Beta. Who's the third? Her blue eyes big with curiosity. Erin. Riley's POV. Ashton took my hand and pulled me to where Brandon and Taryn were talking. He cleared his throat, gaining their attention. Riley, Brandon said, smiling. How are you? You all are werewolves as well, aren't you? I ignored his question. Yup. Sophie stood next to Brandon and looked at me softly. In Brandon's mate, Sophie said. Carly is Jake's and Sarah is Austin's. How about Jessica? From the corner of my eye, I saw Ashton shift uncomfortably. You don't find your mate until you're 15. Ashton said, wrapping his arms around my waist. How about you? You are 16 and you found me this year. Haley grinned. That's because he needs to learn how to be patient. What do you mean? That means that he has been waiting for his mate for a whole year, Jessica said. Jessica, Haley exclaimed. What are you doing here? You were supposed to be resting. You were hit in the head pretty hard. I'm fine, Jessica said, sounding annoyed. So you've been waiting for me? I bumped my hip against Ashton. He leaned his head on my shoulder and kissed my cheek. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Unlike Jessica, I treasure the mate bond. Jessica's face twisted into a look of disgust. EW. Don't kiss in front of me. You'll do it with your mate someday, Jake said, coming with Carly. Then I saw the look on Ashton's face again. One of her knees. Something wrong? I asked in a hushed voice. Tell you later. Riley. Dear. Haley started. I'm sorry that we had suddenly dumped the information on you. I laughed uneasily. I actually knew about werewolves for quite some time now. Taran raised his eyebrows. Oh, Ray. I shifted uncomfortably on my feet. All the attention was on me. If I told them how I knew about werewolves, I would have to tell them that I am a member of a gang. That would not end pretty. And today, of all days, I forgot to bring my gun. When my phone vibrated in my pants, I thanked whoever was up there listening to my prayers. I quickly excused myself, sliding out of Ashton's arms and jogging into the trees. Hello, Riley. Hayes Pence. What's up? Looking over my shoulder to see if anyone had followed me. Are you all right? And talking to you. So that means I'm alive and fine. Why do you ask? There was a wolf attack just now. A guy was coming back from his mission when he saw the wolf fight. Oh, about that. I just found out that Ashton's family are all wolves. What? I think he blew up my ear. So I hissed at him. I peeked from behind the trees to see if anyone had heard. So far, no one. They have ultra good hearing, remember. I want you to come back right now, Spencer commanded. I can't. They'll be suspicious. Fine. Justin's coming to pick you up. To our agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. No, Spence. The line went dead. Spencer and his big brother Lion's S. I muttered. I went back still grumbling. Are you okay? I let out a startled yelp as Jessica melted from the shadows. Literally. My eyes widened. How did you do that? What? Jessica asked, tilting her head. You just came out of nowhere. How did you do that? Oh, she grinned mischievously. My mother says that I was born with magic in my blood. I don't know how, but I like it. Magic, I whispered to myself. So are there any other supernatural beings that exist? There are werewolves and magicians. No vampires. I wish. Jessica sighed. When do you start shifting? On your 15th birthday, Jessica said with excitement. Just 2 more years until I can run with my brothers. I smiled softly at the bouncing child. Riley. Ashton called me. I looked up at him. He had finally put on a shirt and had an irritated look on his face. Justin's at the door. He said he has come to pick you up. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. By Jessica. She waved at me and skipped to where Penny was standing in a distance. Ashton took my hand and led me to the door. Justin stood at the door, twiddling his thumbs awkwardly. When he spotted me, he instantly relaxed, but I'd the little smudges of dried blood on my clothes. They must have come from Ashton's body when I hugged him. Justin tried to keep a straight face when Ashton approached him. You can go first, I said to Justin, who nodded and silently went to wait in the car. Good night, I said to Ashton and gently brushed my lips on his. As I was about to pull away, His hand went to the back of my head and pulled me closer. He kissed me hard and I quickly responded. His tongue licked my bottom, asking for entrance, which I did not open up to. He licked again, but my lips were sealed shut. He growled and bit on my bottom lip gently. This time, I opened my mouth and our tongues clashed against each other, earning a moan from the both of us. A car horn made us jolt away from each other. Ashton glared at Justin, who glared back. "See you later." I kissed Ashton once more on the lips and began walking away. "See you in school," he replied. I stiffened but kept on walking. I'm not going to see him tomorrow, but I'm going to be off searching for Bridget. Chapter 30, Search Atrides POV. I dragged my small luggage out of the house and set it among the many others. "Tanda, you are in my group," Spencer said, patting my head. "Who else is in your group?" "Jamie." I nodded and pulled my luggage to the truck. "Last night, I explained everything to Ben, who told the gang. Now Spencer is being extra protective of who goes near me. I tried explaining that I was Ashton's mate, which means that he would never hurt me. But Spencer, being the thick skull-head brother he is, didn't listen. I quickly went to Jared to say a good luck. He was loading his group's bags into his car. "Hey," I said, bouncing on my heels. He closed the boot. "What do you want, Riley?" "I want to leave as soon as possible." "I know. I just want to say, good luck. You'll definitely need it. I just hope I'm not too late." I punched his arm softly. "We Thompsons are strong. I mean, look at me. Abused for 2 years and almost recovered." I tried to say it as light-hearted as I could. I haven't fully recovered from my 2 years of abuse. I would flinch whenever someone raises their hand. There are times when someone yells my name and I feel like hiding. When I am training with Spencer and he pins me on the floor, I would get scared and tears would start streaming down my cheeks. So I actually am nowhere near recovering. Jared laughed humorlessly. "Thanks for trying to cheer me up, but I think I need to focus on Bridget." I nodded and wrapped my arms around his waist. He stiffened at the sudden contact, but soon relaxed and wrapped his arms around my shoulders. "Why?" a screech yelled from afar. Then another pair of arms wrapped themselves around Jared and I. "Don't die. To my agent extraordinaire, my Lindobin. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Lucy mumbled into my shoulder. Then Ennis and Jamie joined. Soon a whole group of gangsters surrounded us in hugs. I guess I shouldn't call them gangsters anymore. They are more like family. Yeah, that's right. They are my family. I sat in the passenger seat. My head leaned against the window. I watched the trees zoom past and sighed. How are we going to find him? We have been traveling for 3 hours and I had to switch my phone off because Ashton was giving it a seizure. Jamie was at the back, his legs stretched on all 3 seats. His head rested on a pillow pet he had brought with him. His loud snores were the only noises filling up the air. So where do we go first? Probably find a hotel to stay in. How are we gonna find her? I don't know. Do you think he is an alcoholic? Jamie asked, rubbing his eyes sleepily. That's possible, but we are not checking a liquor store. Why not? I know you would want to get beer or more candy. Jamie gasped. I forgot to bring my candy. So what? It'll become Jared. Moody and serious. Jamie said, trembling. Does candy make you childlike? It's my only cure for seriousness. Jamie said solemnly. Well, see if the serious Jamie is good or bad. Then we will buy you candy if it's bad. He sighed sadly but nodded. We remained in silence. I went back to looking out the window. Jamie went back to sleep, and Spencer searched for a hotel. I must be dozed off sometime after that because I don't remember appearing in a forest. I wandered underneath the tall looming trees. I have no idea where I am going, but my feet seemed to know as they led me past each tree. I reached a field and in the middle sat a figure. With its back facing me, I stopped at the edge of the field, hesitant to approach. It was obvious the figure was a lady. She had long and straight jet black hair and her figure was slim. Her skin was as pale as paper, and when she stood up, her long white dress flowed at every move she made. She was tall and graceful when she turned to face me. My feet began thinking on its own again and started walking towards her. As I got closer, I took in her facial features. Her nose was long and high. Her eyes were so dark that you couldn't see their pupils. Her mouth was thin and a pale pink. She was beautiful but held this touch me, and you die kind of feeling. Hello, Rai. Her voice was hollow and echoed even though we were in the open. Who are you? I blurted. I am the moon goddess. Moon goddess, she repeated. Are you from some religion? Am I supposed to know what you do? She laughed lightly. No. I am the goddess who takes care of my creatures. The werewolves. So you are the werewolf goddess? If you put it that way. Yes, so what am I doing here? I asked, tilting my head. I know what happened between you and the Alpha's second son. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She said softly. Wait, were you the one who set me and Ashton up? As mates? Yes, why? Why me? Because you'll be the one who stops the Hunter and Rouge threats. If you didn't have a connection to any of the pack, they'd be destroyed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You will be the one who ends the war. What? Paul McIntosh is the one leading the Hunter and Rouge group. He will destroy Ashton and his pack if you don't stop him. So I have to go back, yes. You need to go back and warn Ashton and Alpha Terran. My time is almost up. You have to tell your brother to turn around. I'll see you soon. Why? Wait. 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 I shouted at her. But my surroundings faded and I opened my eyes. Riley. Wake up. A voice whispered. My eyes snapped open. I sat forward. I looked to my right and saw Spencer nudging my arm. Where are we? I looked around. It was dark out and there was dark out and there was Trot next to us. Jamie went to get dinner. We need to go back. Now what? I know who is Bridget. He is going to wipe out Ashton's family and pack. How do you know this? The moon goddess told me. Spencer looked at me strangely. I know I would look at myself strangely too. Jamie opened the back door and climbed in, holding paper bags full of greasy food. I got the food. Get in the car. I took him by his shirt and yanked him in. Spencer sped out of the parking lot before Jamie could close the door. What was that for? Why are we going back the way we came from? Can you slow down? What's happening? Did I miss something? Jamie's gaze flickered from me to Spencer. I had a dream. I met the moon goddess or the goddess of werewolves. She told me who was keeping Bridgerton that he wants to wipe out Ashton's pack. I purposely left out the part where I had to kill Paul. I didn't want my brother to go into a speech on the reason I wasn't allowed to do gang missions and why he would not let me kill someone. I whipped my phone out and sent texts to all the group leaders and Ben. Riles the panda. Come back to the house. I know who it is. I called Ashton next. It didn't get to ring once before he answered it. Why? Where are you? You weren't at school today. Are you okay? He'll come get you. Where are you? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I said softly but effectively, cutting him off. I'm fine, but you won't be. I'm coming. Expect me to be there with a couple of people. If there is another Rouge attack, bring the children and girls into the basement trapdoor and make sure Jessica is among them. I'll see you in a couple hours. I hung up. My phone rang with calls from Ashton and Jared, but I ignored them, trying to think of a plan. I remember Paul. He was the weird, creepy guy who wanted to buy me off of my father. He had said that he wanted me to lead some people. Well, I now know what he was talking about. So who is the guy? I looked at Jamie. He had all of a sudden and became serious. Paul McIntosh. He was the guy that wanted to buy me off of buy me off of Dave. I changed my words when Spencer gave me a sharp look. He was the guy I was looking for when I first met you guys. You know, Justin introducing us. Me disappearing only to be knocked out by Ben, who was talking to Paul. Then you took me to the hideout. Oh, that was Paul, Jamie muttered, then said that he was from some secret group no one knows anything about. Then also said that he wanted to bring you to his place. Wait, Spencer butted in. He wanted to bring my little sister to his house. Yeah, but Ben insisted that we bring her to our place so that he can apologize to her when she wakes, Jamie said with a straight face. I dug through my bag and pulled out a bag of Skittles. I threw them at Jamie, whose face lit up. He tore the bag open and took a handful of rainbows and stuffed it into his mouth. When he noticed me watching with raised eyebrows, he stretched his arm out to me and said, "What, son?" I winced and pushed the saliva-coated Skittles away from myself. No, it's okay. I don't like Skittles. Suit yourself. It was around 9 o'clock when we reached the house. I jumped out and made a beeline to Ben's office. Then, we need to talk, I said, barging in. Are we breaking up? He asked from his desk. What? We aren't even together. Why are you asking that question? I crossed my arms over my chest. Because the line, "We need to talk," is the breakup warning. I rolled my eyes but sat in the chair facing him. Did you get my message up? What are we going to do? I don't know. I thought you were gonna do the planning. I was thinking in the car. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. First of all, who's this guy? You know Paul McIntosh, right? The weird guy who was talking to me when you barged in at the club. Archie's the guy who has Bridget. He has an army of hunters and rouges. He's planning on wiping out Ashton's pack. So do you have a plan? Ben asked. I nodded. Tell me. Ben nodded for me to speak. I was thinking to team up with werewolves. Won't they kill us if we have silver? And how about those in the gang who doesn't want to team up? We can tell them what we are planning to do. And there is something else that Paul wants. Ben quirked his eyebrow. And what is that? A female leader. A female leader. Why a female? I don't know. To lead with him. We don't have many girls who are good leaders here. Ben ran his fingers through his hair. Clearly frustrated. I know someone. I'm sure she would be willing. Ben's eyes found mine. Who is it? I stood in between Spencer and Ben as people filed into the room. Once they took their seats, Ben went onto the stage to talk about our situation and my dream. If anyone doesn't want to be in this war, I want you to leave the room right now, Ben said. Nervous glances were passed around the room. Slowly, one by one, people began standing up and exiting. I don't blame them. They don't know what would happen to them, who Bridget is, or how werewolves are. I know that it'd be one of the people who would be in that crowd. Unfortunately, only a fourth had stayed. Spencer let out a low whistle wail. I guess we know who the brave ones are. Ben cleared his throat on stage. Thank you all for staying. I know most of you don't know Bridget. Heck, even I don't know her. But thank you very much. Now Riley will be coming up to explain our plan to save Bridget and help the werewolves. I made my way up the stairs when Ben gestured for me. I waved my hand shyly. So on to the plan. Ben and I were talking about this just now. We are going to be teaming up with the werewolves. There were sudden shouts from the crowd. I held my hand up to silence them. Don't worry. I know some of them. But the problem is the threat. Paul wants to have a female leader from our gang. The shouts began getting louder again. Don't worry. I yelled again. I already know who will be the leader if anything goes wrong. I will only give her to Paul if it's our only choice. Everyone was silenced and I looked at the front row. Lucy sat there, her hand clutching Dennis's. She was pale and she watched me with sad eyes. She gave me a half-hearted smile in which I returned. Now we are going to the werewolf's house to discuss our plan. If they don't want our help, their lives are in their hands. Ben took my place as I went to stand beside Spencer. We leave in 5. Ben and out. And don't freak the wolves with your weapons.